Hey Fly Tyers, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Matt, and this channel is all about creating flies that you will want to learn how to tie and fish. Now the pattern I'm going to be tying tonight, Stonefly Creeper. Now there are lots of variations of this out there online. You can tie any number of them, but one I'm tying, I got it from a Dave Hughes book from the 80s. I think it's one of the more simpler versions, but it fishes just as well. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get started. I will explain the materials as I go and put the recipe in the description. So I'm starting with a size 12 barbless 1x long standard nymph hook. I'm going to lay down a base of 0.15 weight, about 8 or 10 wraps. Now I'm using golden thread or yellow. I'm going to put this is 70 denier UTC. I'm going to put a dam right at the back of the weight, take it to the front, then take it on back to the bend of the hook. Okay, when you've got that, just a little bit past the start of the bend of the hook, I'll show you why here in just a second. For the tail, about 4 pheasant tail fibers. Now Dave Hughes tied it very short, had it going down and literally smaller than a hook gap. But then some of the folks I've seen that had it tied as long as the shank. I like a compromise maybe about that, but I do want it angled down. So catch this up here. That's how Dave tied it, and I think it looks a little bit best. It looks the best when you got them angled just a bit down. Okay, that's fine there. Now just go ahead and bury the rest of these fibers up to your weight. Snip this excess off. Now the wing case is the next component. Just wood duck flank fibers. Natural is fine. I've got a dyed golden one here. I think this looks a little bit better, but feel free to use natural or brown or anything you got. It's going to give you that variegated look, the dark and light. I think anything would be fine there. So I'm going to catch this in all the way back to the start of the tail. Now before you're done with that, take a look at it and make sure you're pulling straight over the top. See, I think we are right there. That will look fine as the wing case or the shellback. This thing does have a rib. I've been using 5X. You could probably go to 6X if you want to be a little bit thinner. This kind of helps hold the body in, gives it a little bit of segmentation. So I tie that in at a 45-degree angle, then I pull it back. So the front of it is just at the back of those weighted wraps. Okay, now let's dub the body. Get a little wax on 3 inches or so of your thread. Now here's another option. You can, if you want it really buggy, go with something like seal fur or possum. I think rabbit has been buggy enough. I'll let you be the judge of that when we put it on here. It might take a couple of noodles to get it up here because we're going to go pretty much all the way up to just a couple of eye links behind the eye there. Okay, now when you're happy enough with your body, if you got a little bit of taper, that makes it look a little bit nicer, but it's not vital. Go ahead and counter wrap your rib. Now the trick with the monofilament rib, you got to put a few more securing wraps on this than you do with a wire, because it will come off on you if you're not careful. See that front one right there started coming back a little bit. That's going to be fine because we're going to cover that with our wing case and our legs here in just a second. So speaking of the legs, I'm using brown partridge, dyed brown, small slip of a partridge feather. Just prepare it, pull off the fuzzies, cut a little V-notch out of it. You could wrap it as a hackle and then pull it down and to the sides, but I've found that makes it just a little bit too long. So I think it looks a little bit better to pinch these and then tie this in with a couple of wraps. Let's see, and then we'll adjust the position and the length before we really secure it in. Okay, so those are coming off the side, but they're a bit too long. We can take care of that right here. Just pull up on your stem. It's not going to take too much, but be careful that you don't misalign them. Okay, so I've got about an equal amount coming off either side and about the length I want. So I'm going to go ahead and hold that down while I put one or two more securing wraps right there. Try not to let it spin on me. It did just a little bit. But the wing case will also help us position these legs, so you don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, those are going to look fine. We'll be able to tweak them a little more if we want. Go ahead and cut the front end of this partridge off. Now let's wrap our shell back up. Get some of those rabbit strands out of the way. I want that to come just straight over the top. I'll put a couple of medium wraps and check it before I really secure it. I think that's going to look fine right there. So I'll put one in front of it, then maybe another lock and wrap on top. That one's pretty tight. Go ahead and snip this excess. Now let's work on the head. I'll push these up with my fingernail or a bodkin if you need to. Take the thread straight up to the bottom of that eye, then I'll build my ramp back up, trying to bury these butt ends right here. You don't have to worry. You can make it a fairly good size head. It is a nymph. I think that's going to be fine right there. Let's whip finish it 4 or 5 turns before we put a drop of head cement on it. Might have a little bit of cleanup to do with this rabbit fur. You see I got one sticking way down, way off the bottom right there. And we'll go ahead and take care of that. But there you have it, folks. Pretty fun tie, pretty effective patterns. The Stonefly Creeper. Hope you enjoyed it, or at least learned something. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you will consider subscribing. So we'll see you next time.